Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome, world. Welcome once again to Tuesday Talk with Key West Lou. I am your host, Louis Patrone. Interesting show this evening. We're going to cover a multitude of sins by only covering one topic. The topic tonight is the one that everyone is primarily interested in worldwide. I'm talking about COVID-19. I'm talking about Omicron. It's killing the world. It's speeding us up. It's numero uno. It's the thing we have to discuss, analyze, beat, get people to cooperate, take the vaccine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what the show is about tonight. Normally, I would open the show by telling you we're going to be in New York, Chicago, San Francisco, Singapore, Melbourne, Australia. I'm not going to do that tonight because the virus covers the whole world, and tonight the show is going to cover the whole world. Going to start with COVID is really World War III for the United States. World War III. And we got to beat the virus like we beat the Japanese after Pearl Harbor. We can't put up with this very long. We're losing too many people. We are. What? The number's what? Over 1 million new cases yesterday. Don't know the number for today, but they projected it would be higher. They just haven't been published yet. We've got to do something about it. We must be totally aware of everything that's going on. Those who are not cooperating pursuant to the government's suggestions should, and that's where it's at. So tonight is my COVID night. And again, it is the battle of our lifetime. I was alive for World War II. I was there. I wasn't in the war. I was 5 to 10 years old. But I have recollections of the war on the home front with the family, the people crying, listening to the radio every night to try to figure out where their children were fighting or their spouses or their relative. Going to the railroad station and seeing the military, the soldiers, the Marines, everybody, the sailors coming in and going out, carrying guns, people crying, families crying, girlfriends, wives, mothers crying. As they came in, they went out. So I was there to see these experiences. And I'm definitely here, as you are, with this COVID problem. Going to open first with the Pope. Yep, the Pope. And that's Pope Francis. But first, Pope Francis. And our dear Pope Francis, a good guy. Appreciate that this good man also has to deal with the problems we're dealing with here in the United States. He, all over the world now it seems, half the bishops want to depose him. They are authoritarian type figures. They support authoritarian type ruling and government. They are friends, personal friends. They are led by the nose by people like Steve Bannon and Newt Gingrich. Well, the good Pope recently reaffirmed, his support of COVID-19 vaccines. The vaccines. He said, Pope Francis said that insistence that people get vaccinated is, and I quote, an act of love. Is an act of love. Think about it. It is. All right? Now, Omicron is spreading like wildfire. I read somewhere over the weekend, and I quote, the fastest spreading virus in history. Do you hear me? The fastest spreading virus in history. My God, we had the bubonic plague. We had the Spanish flu in 1918, 1919. This is bigger than that, moves faster than that, okay? Think about this also. This Omicron is a problem. And because we hear about it every day, and there's so much happening new with it every day, it seems like it's been with us forever. Hear what I'm going to say, my friends. It's barely a month, not even a month, since Omicron was detected for the first time in South Africa. We didn't even hear about this 4 weeks ago. We just started living with it a little less than 4 weeks ago, and look how it is dominating our lives in a short 4 weeks. So it's a problem. It's a problem. It is a problem. Those refusing to get vaccinated are a pain. They don't realize how they're endangering even members of their own family, their children if they have children. But they don't seem to care. They're interested in their freedoms, their radical rights, radical right-thinking people. These are Trumpies, primarily, etc. And what they don't realize is that they are playing Russian roulette. Yes, Russian roulette with COVID. But when you play Russian roulette with COVID, it's like playing Russian roulette with a gun that is fully loaded. Now, children. Children's hospitals are overflowing. They're running out of beds. Some are out of beds. They don't have sufficient staff to take care of these kids. Any hospital right now they're being overloaded, primarily with the young teenagers and young people. And now, in increasing numbers, children, okay? This is the highest number hospitals across the United States have ever recorded, okay, for any type of disease involving children. Okay? The FDA is aware of this. They okayed this past week that a new booster shot for children 12 to 15 years old. And so that's moving now. Appreciate all young children don't get the vaccine shot. They don't qualify yet because we don't have a vaccine shot approved for them yet. We can only do so much in the time we have, and I think the country's done a great job. We just haven't found the right thing yet, the right killer. It's going to be with these pills we're taking, these shots, but it isn't there yet. It isn't perfected, and that's why we're still getting killed with this thing. But I believe it'll work out in due course. Now, what the due course is, I don't know. Yesterday, first time ever, 1 million new cases in the United States, mostly Omicron. This Omicron spreads like wildfire. It jumps from one person to another so easily. They have a field day where more than one person. 2 constitute a crowd now. Put 5 or 6 together, they're generally going to walk away with the bug, one of them. It's wild, absolutely wild. But yesterday, 1 million new cases in one day. Think of that. And they said today the number would be higher. Then I would share it with you, but it hasn't been published yet. Okay, we shall see. We shall see. First thing tomorrow morning, we shall see. Okay, this shows we don't have enough people, the workplaces. And our hospitals are getting overcrowded, number one. Number two, the hospitals have insufficient staff, doctors and nurses. Businesses like the airlines don't have enough pilots, attendants. That's why these airlines are cutting back on their flights. Thousands. Some people are still in the airport since last Friday or Thursday waiting to get on a plane. Can you imagine? And especially if they're families, they can't get motel rooms, and they're sleeping on the floor. And a lot of them are families, kids, little kids. Got to be wild, absolutely wild. A hospital, I forget where, in the United States, announced earlier today that it was closing down its maternity ward immediately because they have insufficient staff. You know, you need doctors and nurses and other type medical specialists for a birthing process. We've all been through it at one time or another with family members. They don't have the staff, so they can't take any more childbirths. All right? They don't have the staff, and they need the space for other things, obviously. Now, I spent my life in Utica, New York, 50 miles from Syracuse, New York. I went to law school at Syracuse University. I tried many cases in Syracuse. I had a satellite office in Syracuse. I had a good volume of business there. And guess what? It was announced this morning that one of the schools will not open. The president of the teachers union said, we don't have enough teachers. We just don't have enough teachers. And so the school has been closed. And it's interesting. This virus, this Omicron, is affecting every industry, every business, every grouping. It's just eating away at it, one person at a time, until you don't have enough people to work whatever you're doing. And so no teachers. And there was another interesting thing. I watched her on TV, the union president. She said there's another thing people don't realize, that teaching is not the appealing profession it once was, and that fewer and fewer young people are becoming teachers. So they have a lower number of teachers available that they can move around today, and they're losing teachers because the teachers are coming down with the virus. So this school is closed in Syracuse, New York. This is a first. I'm going to tell you, I'm smiling and laughing a little bit. It's a sad thing. Depends how you look at it. It's the first time we've had an official report on this. Omicron can be spread by sex. You heard me. And this is a serious problem. Well, think about it. And sex is not recommended at the present time. That's simple. Here's the story. Number one, Omicron is more contagious than any STD. Omicron is more contagious than any STD. And it spreads from droplets in the air. Well, we're always told this, but it seems it's more so. Like they want us to change our mask. No more cloth masks. You got to get a special type mask, which I've ordered. I ordered it 10 days ago, the super duper mask, and I'm still waiting. I was supposed to get it in 2 days. Then they sent me a notice. They'll let me know when they ship it, which means the company's overloaded. And it's supposed to be the company where you go now to get these special masks. Anyhow, but it's from droplets in the air, and you got to stay at least 6 feet away from the person you are having sex with, which makes the act, I think, impossible. You got to be really up close to have sex, and the droplets in the air, I mean, you got to do it with your mask. You're exchanging fluids, though. It makes sense. This thing would spread easily. So the word is, I'm not saying you should do it or don't do it. Make up your own mind. But sex should be a no-no until we resolve the Omicron problem. I'm laughing, as I say, because people don't want to wear a mask. You kidding me? And they don't want to get vaccinated. You think they're going to give up sex? No way. And so we're going to have more infections. Not funny, but it is funny. Now, this is an interesting thing. There is a tidal wave. That's how it has been described. A tidal wave of children being infected with Omicron. They are described by the medical industry, I'll call it an industry, the doctors, nurses, hospitals, as Omicron kids. Omicron kids. They didn't see kids in this number before. Remember when COVID first came out, the kids weren't getting sick, the children weren't getting sick, wasn't going to affect them. 3 or 4 weeks ago when Omicron came out and the children started getting infected, some of them, they said, but it'll be easy with the children. We don't have to worry. Well, it's a big concern today. The hospitals are getting overloaded with children, all right? Children. Now, Dr. Matthew Harris is a New York City pediatric emergency room doctor. On the day after Christmas, the night after Christmas, he had 30 new COVID cases, all Omicron variant. And he said, so this is in proper perspective, my friends, that for 2 months he had not seen one infant, one child coronavirus case. And all of a sudden, one night, he had 30 of them, 30 prospective cases. After having tested them and everything else, only 12 were infected. But he hadn't had any infected in 2 months. Now, He also said that any child that came in with a fever had the disease, had the virus. The saddest thing of all this is that several of the 12 were babies under the age of 1, a couple under the age of 6 months. Now I ask you, where did they get sick? Had to be from mom and dad, who probably didn't get the vaccine, or maybe mom took the baby with her to the supermarket, because these kids can't wear masks. They don't even have masks for these kids, and they aren't vaccinated yet because they haven't come up with a vaccine for children that young. And these kids came down with the virus. So it's out there affecting them. Another observation Dr. Harris made, that each of the 12 that were infected did have an underlying condition. You know, if you have certain things, certain diseases, you're more susceptible to the problem. That's why they're concerned so much with patients in nursing homes and the people who take care of them, because they got screwed up bodies. Like my body's getting screwed up at 86, but I've gone through the list in detail and talked to my primary care physician. I am not in any fashion my problems are, I got so many problems, especially my heart bothers me, but I have so many problems, but I don't qualify for a shot that they would give to people with that problem, regardless of my age. Well, and it just so happens some of these kids have leukemia as their underlying condition. Here's what the doctor said, and I'm going to quote him because this is the scariest thing he said. What's going to happen 3 weeks from now? 3 weeks from now. This is not even the end of January, 3 weeks from now. But keep in mind what I mentioned earlier. It's close to 4 weeks since Omicron first got discovered, since it became visible, known as a variant in COVID in Southern Africa. It spreads that fast. 1 million new cases in one day yesterday in the United States. So it makes sense that in 3 weeks, it's going to be Disasterville for the children in this country. This is what he said, what's going to happen 3 weeks from now. He also said there are some of the sickest, that's the word he used, there are some of the sickest kids I have seen in my career. The 12 that had the virus, he said they are some of the sickest kids I have seen in my career. Bad days, black days are coming, unfortunately. I want to talk about Israel. I got a couple of items on Israel. Recognize that Israel was one of the first nations to take the bull by his horns and deal with the problem. They did a good job up front. They also they did the masking thing, they did the vaccines, they did the social distancing, they did lockdowns, and the people obeyed because they obey in Israel. They don't obey in the United States. Anyhow, Israel reports its first case of Florona. Never heard of it, did you? I never heard of it. Spelled F-L-U-R-O-N-A. F-L-U-R-O-N-A. Florona is a person who has a double infection at one time. Comes down with COVID and the flu at the same time. Now we know we're into flu season, or we're going into flu season, and this is going to come up. It's going to come up in the United States. People are going to get COVID and they're going to get the flu. My God, a double hit. Do they survive? How bad is it going to be? How much worse? So, but Israel discovered they had the first case and they gave it a name. Also, with regard to Israel, they came up with this special approach to handling the nursing homes and the people who give care to the patients in the nursing home. They have required all patients, regardless of their condition in a nursing home, qualify for another booster shot. This will be booster shot number 2. They get their first 2 shots, they got a booster shot, another booster shot, and also the people caring for them, the staff of the nursing home, regardless of their ages or anything else, all will get that second booster shot. That's all They're worried over there in Israel, as we all are worried, and that's one approach they're taking. They're worried about these older people because they have weakened immune systems. And I can't believe I don't have a weakened immune system. I don't want it with everything I got wrong to me. I'm always going to the doctor. Israel also announced that very shortly they're going to provide the second booster shot to everyone above age 60. This is beautiful. I'm laughing. I shouldn't laugh. These are sad things, but some of them are so stupid. The one I'm going to share with you now, we have people who don't believe there's a virus. We have people, as a result, don't get vaccinated, don't wear a mask or anything like that. And I think it's something like 30% of the people, 40% are yet unvaccinated. It's a huge number. Well, a lot of them, I've got to say it this way, are Trump supporters. They're far, deep, black-hearted Republicans. They're deep state Republicans. And earlier this year, they had to have a reason why everyone was getting sick with this virus, this alleged virus, they said, this purported virus. And they said this was because of plutonium. Plutonium, now, as you know, and I know, they make nuclear weapons out of plutonium. Now, where anybody got the plutonium, because you can't just get it like that. And how they spread it without getting sick, I don't know, but it was plutonium, they said. That's what did it. That didn't fly. You probably never heard of it, having been a cause. But now, because the plutonium didn't work, they've come out with something new. They say that this Omicron surge, the skyrocketing numbers, that are hitting the United States with a vengeance, these right-wingers are convinced it's caused by anthrax, that there are some nuts out there who are getting anthrax and making it available to people, secretly, so they don't know they're getting it, and they're getting sick, and that's what's causing something that we call a virus, but isn't a virus, anthrax spread. These people are crazy. Okay, we're going to go into the state of Florida. I'm going to run fast here. Governor DeSantis, the worst of the worst. He's a Donald Trump, no question, wants to be president, has always talked like Donald Trump, acts like Donald Trump, disregards everything, lies as good as Donald Trump. So maybe he is qualified to be president. Anyhow, just 2 hours ago tonight, he made an announcement. I don't know where he made it from because nobody's seen him since December 17th in this state. But he's been here, but he hasn't been seen. He doesn't go public because he doesn't know how to explain why the virus is spreading as it is. Well, he tells everybody you don't have to wear a mask. Your kids must go to school. You got to do this. You got to do that. Don't worry what Washington tells you. We're not doing it that way. Well, he urged today in an announcement that Floridians, his people, forego COVID testing, Even as Omicron cases mount, they are going up like it's skyrocketing. I live here. I know. I see the numbers. I read. I watch the local news. And he says, don't worry about it. Don't pay any attention to it, Don't even test, he's saying. And everybody's going crazy now testing. All right. Now, he also, we had a fella down here in Key West in the 1970s, mid-70s. He was chief of the fire department chief. Bum Fardo. Turned out he also was a drug dealer, ran a whorehouse and all this kind of stuff. He got indicted federally, got convicted, but he disappeared the day he was to be sentenced, just like Jimmy Hoffa. He was gone. Anyhow, so we have T-shirts down there. We're a T-shirt town. We're a tourist town. And this T-shirt say, Bum Fardo, where are you? Well, I'm sure we're going to have T-shirts pretty soon if DeSantis doesn't show up, saying, Governor DeSantis, where are you? Because he's basically been gone, out of sight since December 17th. Since December 17th. That's the last time anybody saw him, with a few exceptions I'm going to give you. Well, when it came out a few days ago that he hasn't been around, he hasn't made any public statements, what I just told you, he said today, 2 hours ago, his office issued a statement that his wife had cancer, and he was helping her with chemotherapy, and that's why he was unavailable. Well, I said the guy lies. Listen to what I'm going to say. I have all sympathy for his wife. However, she was diagnosed in October. We all know the chemo starts right away, and it keeps up for weeks. And I'm sure he helped her, but I don't think she does it as much now. Or if she does, somebody else in the family takes her. Somebody that works for the governor takes us. She drives her own car sometimes. I have friends who have cancer. I see how this thing works. So do you. And that was story number one. Two news articles, Fox, of course, Fox News and England's Daily Mail both said he was taking care of his poor wife. That's why he hasn't been seen since December 17th. Well, both papers listed one day that she had chemo, that he was with her. Fox said December 29th. The Daily Mail said December 19th. I don't know which day it was. Anyhow, also, when this came out last week, where are you, Governor DeSantis? The article was it was said on Fox and the Daily Mail. This is the news that came out. Was that there was a picture with it that ran on the internet and in the newspaper, a photograph of Governor DeSantis in a bagel shop in Ocala, Florida, saying how good these bagels are. And it was made to look like that's where he was on October 17th. Turns out the picture was taken 2 weeks earlier when he was in the bagel shop. You see how this guy acts? So supposedly he and his wife showed up at a charity fundraiser on New Year's Eve. I'm not disputing this. And supposedly he also went to the Orange Bowl game that night. I'm not disputing that. But he still hasn't gone back and gone on TV, etc. He issued that statement I read to you earlier about don't worry about things, but he isn't appearing in public. And the reason he's not appearing is because the people are starting to turn on him down here. They see what he's doing and how he is lying. Now let's go to the kids going to school. He says he's not going to listen to any mandates that if the schools get closed down. And you know why? His statement he issued, this one was today also, and I quote, just let them be kids. Just let them be kids. Well, I think the kids should go to school, but let's protect them while they're with masks, et cetera, et cetera. But he says, just let them be kids. And then you got good Senator Rubio, who, this guy gets worse. I admired him when he was first elected years ago. He said that the people today in the state of Florida are irrationally hysteric, quote, unquote, and that most of these alleged Omicron cases are nothing more than sore throats. I wish I was that smart. Well, that's the show for tonight. I, unfortunately, don't have more time. I have more information to share, but there's so much out there. I thank you once again for joining me. I love doing this show, and I love the fact that you listen. These numbers go up every week. Oh, my God, it's amazing. I ask you to stay safe until we talk again next week, and good night.